A cold, wet Donington Park greets rounds 11 and 12 of the Auto Trader RAC Touring Car Championship, the halfway point of the season. The weather's improving, but that's a problem for the teams in itself. So they choose full wet weather tyres, which could wear out fast if the conditions get better, or intermediate tyres with less tread. Ford drivers Will Hoy and Paul Radisich seem almost a second faster than Tim Harvey's Peugeot, with the next second covering from 2nd to 13th on the grid. Menu's margin amazing. So he's joined by Tim Harvey at the front of the grid in the much improved Peugeot. Then on row 2 it's James Thompson in the Honda, Jason Plato in the second Laguna. Next it's David Leslie in the Nissan and the champion Frank Biela in the Audi. He's followed by his teammate John Bincliffe alongside Anthony Reid on row 4. Hoy's next in the Mondeo alongside Rickard Rydell's Volvo, while local man Kelvin Burt's disappointed with 11th alongside Derek Warwick in the Vectra. Two ex-champions, Gabriele Tarquini and John Cleland, are side by side on row 7, ahead of Paul Radisich and Patrick Watts, 15th and 16th. Lee Brooks is the top Total Cup independent runner in his Peugeot, ahead of Matt Neal, who's switched to a Nissan Primera. With 22 cars on the grid, 25 laps of the 1.9 Peugeot. Then the two Renaults, Menu and Plato, Thompson in the Honda 6, Leslie's Nissan and Hoy's Mondeo ahead of the two Volvos. Down to the old hairpin. The spray is shrouding the tail of the field, but it's a clean windscreen for the reigning champion, Frank Biela. He's already won once in the wet at Thruxton. Now he's out in front again. And Tim Harvey is heading the pack in the Peugeot. Headlamps ablaze. The spray intense further down the field, and it's the two Audis storming clear through McLean's for the first time up to the double apex right-hander, Coppice Corner. 90 miles an hour, even in these conditions. It's Biela and Bincliffe in a race of their own. Then the pack, Harvey, Menu, Thompson, Plato, Leslie, Hoy, Rydell and Burt in the two Volvos, then Warwick and Reid, Radisich, Cleland, Tarquini and Watts, and Colin Galley in the BMWs leading Brooks in the Total Cup. Superb start for him. But it's the Audis out in front through the right and left, 50 miles an hour S's. And you can see those tyres lifting the water off the track. Biela, then Bincliffe crossed the line, then heading the pursuit. Harvey, he's got the reputation of the Rainmaster, but he's got a very determined Alan Menu pushing him very hard. Then it's Thompson, Plato, Leslie, and a big fight behind them. Leslie's fighting to hold off a determined Will Hoy. Then there's a huge five-way scrap. Reid, Radisich, Cleland, Tarquini and Watts all fighting for 12th place. And look for the front of Radisich's Mondeo. He's got the front spoiler wrapped around the headlight. Down the Craner curves, riding now with Frank Biela, the race leader. And you can see the difference from the action in the pack. He's got a clear windscreen, it's stopped raining, and you can see a dry line starting to appear on the track. The cars are actually wiping the track clean. There's still spray coming off the back tyres of the car though. There's still a long way to go before they're going to worry about tyre wear. And Biela using every inch of the track. Out of McLean's now on the run up to Coppice Corner. Clips the apex once, then the car runs wide. You can hear him going harder onto the power, then back in again. Now building the speed out onto the Starkey Straight. Fastest part of the circuit, 6th gear. Over 8,000 RPM in 6th gear, 140 miles an hour, then down to 2nd for the S's. Teammate John Bincliffe tucks him forward back onto the straight. He's lost an awful lot of places, but meanwhile the battle for 12th still goes on. The red car of Cleland, the green car of Watts, the white car of Reid, they're battling for 12th place. Ahead of them, Rydell's challenging Hoy for 9th. And Alan Menu's up to 3rd place, ahead of Tim Harvey, but not for long. Harvey goes down the inside at Redgate. Can Menu hold the place? Everybody holds their breath. Alan Menu holds on to his 3rd place. Tim Harvey now tucked into his slipstream. He's 4th. James Thompson closing in 5th. Then it's Plato in the 2nd Renault. Leslie, 6th and 7th. Down the Craner curves, down to the old hairpin. 120 miles an hour in the dry. It's still over 100 in the wet. Riding with Alan Menu. Takes a look in his rear view mirror. Up through the gearbox. You'll see him lean left against the G-forces now through the Schwantz curve. The pack in the spray behind, still led by Tim Harvey and James Thompson, the Honda and the Peugeot. Back on the power now, out of McLean's, up to Coppice Corner. And again, down a gear, tiptoeing, sliding the car, letting it drift in the wet. Very treacherous conditions. And as the cars are starting to dry a little bit of track, it means if you move off the line, it gets very slippery indeed. Battle from 4th to 7th. It's Thompson, Harvey, Leslie and Plato, and the two Volvos are starting to close in at the tail of that pack too. Rickard Rydell and Kelvin Burt, the two white cars. But still, it's the red, white and black of James Thompson in 4th place. Leads this little group. Tim Harvey in the green and Gold Peugeot in hot pursuit. Then headlamps ablaze, the white Nissan Primera. David Leslie, the Flying Scotsman. But Jason Plato, after dropping back a couple of laps ago, is really fighting and closing in. Meanwhile, his teammate Alain Menu, 3rd place at the moment, is closing and closing on the 2 Audis ahead. Riding with Menu out of McLean's corner, runs right up onto that outer curb, building the speed up now for the run to Coppice. Down the box, balancing the car. This is the corner Will Hoy said was the most critical corner on the circuit. It controls your speed all the way down the long Starkey straight. You're slow out of Coppice, you're slow at the end of the straight. Up to 135 miles an hour for Alain Menu as he goes under the bridge. Oh, and this is the previous time round at the S's. John Cleland slithering down the inside of his teammate Derek Warwick. He moves up to 12th place, and I don't think Warwick's going to be very impressed about that. Warwick literally left with nowhere to go but the curbs and the back bumper of Cleland's Vectra. And Alain Menu is definitely closing in on the 2 Audis. It's visible now. Just a couple of seconds as they cross the line. And Anthony Reid's Nissan's closing in on Warwick's Vectra at the S's too. Fight's going on all the way up and down the field. John Cleland crosses the line. He's in 12th place. Warwick is in 13th place. We're riding with the 14th place man literally taking a bath on the front bumper of Anthony Reid's Nissan Primera. Closes right in on the tail of Warwick's car. Out of Redgate, through Hollywood now. Building the speed down the Craner curves. The most daunting corner on the circuit. The intercom is disconnected. Paul Radicic is climbing out. It's game over for round 11. Well, Radicic taking a look at the front of the car. Interesting look on his face. So what was the problem?
Made a good start and tripped a little bit, so they were right to penalise me. It didn't help me and really started. I made a good one and bumped into one of the boxes going into the old hairpin, and obviously broke the front of the spoiler, which didn't help the understeer too much. But then going into the back straight. Just went in there a bit fast and got it all a bit wrong with a bit of understeer and run off into the gravel. So I managed to get on, and now we're having been having a mystery engine problem sort of all weekend, and the engine's getting slower and slower. And sure enough, the same thing there. So we'll change an engine, and we start 8th the next one. So hopefully it'll give us a bit better chance to keep up there.
And Derek Warwick also in the pits. The car up on jacks. The 888 engineers peering under the bonnet. The car is obviously going no further. But just look to the right of our screens. Out of Coppice corner, Alain Menu is closing all the time on the 2 Audis. The Renault Laguna quick out down the straight. Frank Bieler now starting to pass the back markers. Past the 1990 champion Rob Gravett, but it's the man who's leading the 1997 champion, closing on the 96 champion. Alain Menu right on John Bincliffe's tail at the moment, and he has Frank Bieler in his sights. Bincliffe goes past Rob Gravett's Honda on the run into Redgate corner. Now it's Alain Menu's turn. Now Bincliffe lost a little bit of ground there because he was forced to take the tighter line through Redgate. Menu's timed his overtaking move just that little bit better. And just look at the silver car, Bincliffe, the 2nd place car ahead of him. He's now driving off the dry line of the track. He's running in the wet. He's trying to keep his tyres cool. So that does really indicate the Audis are starting to hit some kind of tyre wear problem, or maybe the tyres are just getting simply too hot as the track's drying out. Either knows alongside David Leslie. Oh, and a big bit of panel beating. Very muscular driving indeed by Jason Plato. David Leslie forced onto the dirt. Plato moves up into 6th place, and Leslie's going to lose 7th place as well because Rickard Rydell goes down his inside, down the Craner curves. Meanwhile, Tim Harvey again has James Thompson right in his sights. And it is now becoming very much a game of slowing down, letting your tyres cool down for a lap or so, and then pushing hard and seeing whether you can find the opportunity to get through. And that's exactly what Tim Harvey's doing now. James Thompson driving on his mirrors, driving a very accurate racing line. That's the quickest way around the circuit. He knows Tim Harvey can't go that much quicker than him. And look behind them because Jason Plato is getting quicker and quicker than both of them. He's closing in too. And Alain Menu is just about crawling up John Bincliffe's exhaust pipe at the S's. The Audi definitely understeering. You could see it sliding wide up over the curbs. Menu 6.5 seconds to Bieler. Well, that might have been last lap. It's not now. It's a lot shorter distance indeed. It's less than 2.5 seconds to Bieler and milliseconds off the back bumper of John Bincliffe's car. Disastrous weekend continues for Gabriele Tarquini. A miserable race. Started 13th, dropped to 15th after a slow start, back up to 12th, now off at Redgate. This is a race he's going to really want to forget. And Alan Menu gets closer again to John Bincliffe, but again the Audi can just put its power down out of the faster corners a little better. We take a look back at the incident at Redgate, and there you can see Tarquini just quite simply misses his braking point, slithers wide across the access road to the paddock, deep into the gravel trap. Alan Menu has to make the decision. Does he challenge the reigning champion for the race lead, or does he settle for second best and still get those championship points? Well, first of all, he's got to still contend with John Bincliffe, because Bincliffe is trying to find a way back around him. This is the faster part of the circuit. This is where the Audi slightly was superior. But now, Audi victory of the season. Frank Biela takes the checkered flag. A superb race, though, from Alan Menu. He takes second place. John Bincliffe can be very happy with his team role in holding up Menu. He finishes in third place. But Alan Menu and Frank Biela, two worthy front-runners, less than a second apart at the checkered flag. And Biela's victory ahead of Menu with Bincliffe in third means that Jason Plato takes the fourth place, with Rickard Rydell in the Volvo in fifth. Sixth place went to James Thompson, holding off Tim Harvey for the remainder of the race, with Kelvin Burt, David Leslie and Patrick Watts rounding out the top 10. But though the work goes on, changing Radisic's engine to allow him to start race 12.